So good day everyone. We are the group number 3. We are the one who will discuss the story entitled Beowulf. The reporters are me, Wensdian Bernal, followed by Mariel Buen, and then Marian Janine Bautista. Just like I said, we will be the one who will discuss the story entitled Beowulf. Table of Contents. Story Analysis. We will be discussing the author's background, characters' characterization, the settings, the introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, denouement or resolution, and lastly, the moral story and its application. Author's background. The author was an anonymous Anglo-Saxon poet referred to by scholars as the Beowulf poet. The reason for this is that the historians are not sure who wrote the original Beowulf manuscript. Thus, sadly, the author of one of the greatest works of English literature remains anonymous. However, historians do know about the author of Beowulf, even if they do not know who the author was. Also, according to the scholars, they believe that Beowulf was the first written by a scoop or Old English poet. The word scoop is derived from an Old Norse word referring to a bard, or someone who mocks or jokes through storytelling. The person who wrote Beowulf didn't sign his or her work, so scholars refer to this person as the Beowulf poet. Let's move on to the character's characterization. The first one is the protagonist of this epic himself, Beowulf. Beowulf is a brave, Geatish warrior who defeats all of his foes, Grendel, Grendel's mother, and the dragon that breathes fire. In his young age, Beowulf became recognized as the fearless and greatest warrior, and eventually as the wise and mighty king of the Geats. King Hrothgar. King Hrothgar is the king of the Danes. His country was helped by Beowulf who killed the monster that devours his subordinates. He is very generous and unselfish king. He shares and celebrates his success and fortune with his people. Grendel. Grendel is a rich being descendant of Cain. In the Heorot, Grendel goes rampage and devours Hrothgar's warrior. The word of Grendel's assault reached even the country of Geats, where Beowulf lives, who later on the warrior that will defeat him. Grendel's mother, a woman monster who will avenge her for her son's death. Unlike her son, Grendel's mother seems possess qualities of woman. The revenge that she is seeking will be the reason of her death in the hands of Beowulf. The dragon, a powerful fire-breathing serpent. The dragon found a hoard of treasure and started to guard the treasure as assume of possession of it. Beowulf's last fight is with this dragon, and Beowulf's life becomes the exchange of his victory. Wilto, King Hrothgar's wife, the queen of the Danes. She is the one who gives munificent treasure to Beowulf for his bravery. King Higelac. King Higelac is the king of the Geats, the king who named Beowulf as a prince and the successor to his throne. Anfert, a Danish warrior who jealous of Beowulf, is also the one who lent a sword to Beowulf. Ranting by name is the one of the greatest among ancient treasure. Its iron blade was stained with poison, and hardened with the blood of battle. Wiglaf, the lone courageous warrior who aids Beowulf against the dragon, while others run away, is proven that even in a time of life or death situation, he will never abandon his king. Wulfgar, King Hrothgar's servant and herald. Let's move on to the settings. The setting of this epic is the 6th century in what is now known as Denmark and Sweden. May I call on to the next reporter? Thank you.
King Hrothgar, a descendant of the renowned King Shipson, reigns in peace and prosperity. He constructs Heorot, a large mead hall where his men might gather to drink, receive presents from their king, and listen to stories sung by scopes and bards. Grendel, a terrible demon who resides in Hrothgar's kingdom swamplands, is annoyed by Herod's joyous sound. Every night Grendel terrorized the Dane, killing them and defeating their attempts to fight back. Grendel terrorized the Dane for how many years, causing them fear, danger, and death. In the introduction, King Hrothgar had a great mead hall. It was larger and grander than any such hall that anyone had ever heard of. King Hrothgar named the great hall Heorot. The Heorot has been suffered for 12 years by nightly visits from an evil monster Grendel. Grendel haunted marshes and moons, fens and heath. Following an evening of mead-drinking, the Danish warriors of Heorot were fast asleep, and Grendel attacked that night. Grendel seized 30 of them, then carried them back to his lair. In the rising action, however, Rutger's situation is later discovered by Beowulf, a young Geatish warrior. Beowulf sails to Danes with a small party of warriors, intending to defeat Grendel. After being inspired by the task, Hrothgar, who had done a huge favor for Beowulf's father Ecgtheow in the past, accepts Beowulf's invitation to fight Grendel and throw up a feast in his honor. Grendel slinks back into the marsh to die mortally wounded. As a victory trophy, the severed arm hung aloft in the mid-hole. In the rising action, Beowulf is a Thane of Higelac, king of Geats. Beowulf heard that Grendel attacked the hero in the Danes. He came to the Danes and rescued. Beowulf chose 15 warriors to accompany him and they traveled on their way to the Danes. As they arrived at Danes, a Danish guard saw them and asked them, "What warriors are you? And who is your brave leader?" Beowulf answered by introducing himself and his warriors. He said that they are the Geatish kin, Hylax's herd companions, and he introduced himself by saying that he is the son of Ecgtheow. He also said that they come to Danes to serve the mighty lord of the Danes, and he intends to help King Hrothgar to defeat the evil monster Grendel. Beowulf said his vow to Hrothgar and helped him to defeat and destroy Grendel. That night, Beowulf and his warriors kept watching in the great hall, and Beowulf, by trusting in his own strength, he took off his chainmail and helmet, and gave his word to Attain for safekeeping. Beowulf waited and watched the great hall, and they saw Grendel making his way to the hero. Uh, and Grendel started to kill the sleeping Thane, and tore him into pieces, and drank his blood. He stepped nearer to Beowulf, But Beowulf make his way to took hold of Grendel's arm with a great strength. Grendel tried to flee into a darkness, but he could not break Beowulf's powerful grip. Grendel's arm finally burst and blood, and that night Beowulf successfully defeated Grendel, and Grendel died that night. In the climax of the story, another threat is on its way. Grendel's mother, a swamp hag who lives in a deserted lake, seeks revenge for her son's death in Heorot. Before before slinking away, she murders Asher, one of Hrothgar's most valued counselor. The crew journeys to the murky swamp to revenge Asher's death, where werewolves jump into water and confront Grendel's mother in her underwater lair. He murders her with a giant forged blade that decapitates Grendel's body and presents the head to Hrothgar as a gift. The treacherous beasts have been exterminated from the Danish countryside. In the climax of the story, Grendel's mother is a woman monster brooded over her woes. She came to Heorot and she is determined to seek revenge for the death of her son. She killed the favorite thane of Hrothgar. Grendel's mother took his son's arm, and Hrothgar mourned Asher's death. Hrothgar seeks help to Beowulf, and Beowulf gladly accepts his favor. Beowulf came to the place of Grendel's mother. Beowulf started to fight Grendel's mother, and he sliced the head of Grendel's mother. And he came back at Grendel's body and also sliced off Grendel's head as a sign of victory.
The following action in Beowulf's stories. Beowulf then returned to the Geats, where he is proclaimed a hero. Eventually, Beowulf becomes the great king of the Geats. But as with Hrothgar, all good things must come to an end. 50 years into his reign, a great dragon is restored. A man happens upon the base lair and steals some of the treasure the dragon has been hoarding for years. The dragon seeks his revenge and wreaks havoc in Beowulf's kingdom. Beowulf knows that it will be difficult to defeat the beast, but he has the best armor and sword. With his loyal warriors, he set out to defeat the dragon. Beowulf orders his men to stay back while he battles the dragons alone. The warriors agree, and upon seeing the dragon, all of his warriors run from his side except for a young one called Wiglaf. Although Beowulf fights heroically, he is fatally wounded. Before Beowulf dies, Wiglaf presents him with some of the riches from the dragon's hoard. The following actions occurs as Beowulf gives his final instructions to Wiglaf before he dies. In the conclusion, a funeral pyre is built, Beowulf is properly mourned, and Wiglaf assumes leader of the Geats. The resolution of the Beowulf stories. While Beowulf is mortally wounded, but he managed to kill the dragon and win its hoard of treasures. Beowulf dies, as does of the dragon, and after that it obviously all downhill. Next is the moral lesson and Beowulf stars. The moral lesson here is the merit and fairness, where the bravest was made to become a king because people are close to each other. In Beowulf's kingdom, his men or his people are close to each other, and also his men are have a loyalty uh, of him. Beowulf becomes a king, and he is the bravest man of his kingdom. The ideal Beowulf teaches us. The first one is that the loyalty to the king, which is prepared to his people or to his warriors and his kingdom. Next is the warrior should have strength, pride, courage, and loyalty. They had his warriors who willingly to face any odds and fight to the death for their glory and people. Also Beowulf. Next is celebrate your accomplishment. It boasts not evidence of excessive pride, serve to illustrate cultural not individual pride. Next is to never underestimate heritage and reputation. Beowulf's legacy is maintained through the way people view his importance, and his reputation is built through what he says and what he does. Next is face your challenge heads on. Grendel's and Grendel's mother are defeated because Beowulf addressed them directly, and Beowulf proved himself through his courage action. Next is find your allies and trust your mentors. They warn against excessive pride and will remain by his side at the crucial moment. And that's all for Beowulf stories. Thank you.